welcome back to the Orlando Adventures podcast. I'm your host, Russ, and today's episode is the trip announcement one. Finally, after months and months, I can finally tell you all that we are going to Orlando. This has been a long time coming, and let's wind this all the way back. Let's wind this all the way back to April. I started this podcast in March of this year, which feels wild because I feel like I've been doing this a long time. And realistically, it's, it is a while, but it's not. It feels like years, but it's not. So back in March, obviously I started the podcast, and I have such a passion for Orlando and Disney and Universal and talking about these parks that I obviously decided, you know what, I've got so much passion for it that I'm gonna start a podcast. And I love it. I absolutely love doing this. I love talking about it. I love talking to all of you guys. I love interacting with you all. I love seeing all of your pictures. I love seeing all of your vlogs, your videos, your content. And then let's kind of step forward from March to April. So in April, I've got the bug. I've always got the bug. We know this, and I've talked to a lot of guests about this, about getting the Orlando blues and all that kind of stuff. And when we went on our trip in kind of October/November last year, I came back and the first thing I wanted to do was book another one. But at that moment in time, it wasn't the right time for us to book a trip. And back to kind of like April, I basically went, you know what, I'm in a position where I can book a trip, but I essentially, just to give you a bit of an outline of what I was trying to do, I was trying to find a trip later in the year. I originally was trying to find a trip for October. I couldn't find the flights. I couldn't get it for a sensible enough price, so I basically went hunting. I went hunting for a deal. I went hunting to try and find what I deemed to be a good value for money trip that was going to be achievable for this year. And I stumbled across December. Okay. So for any of you who haven't seen the trip announcement reveal on YouTube that was uploaded on Sunday, I basically revealed that this trip is happening, and it's happening in December of this year. So I found this essentially, I stumbled across flights and prices and hotels and stuff for December. And I was like, you know what? How cool would going to Orlando in December be? I think it could be really, really exciting. And I ummed and ahed about booking it over Christmas, and I opted to not. I opted to go, you know what? Let's do Christmas at home with the families, all that kind of stuff. And then after Christmas, then let's go over to Orlando. Let's spend New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and all that kind of stuff there, and just be amongst all of the magic, kind of bringing in the new year kind of thing. So that's what I landed on. And I found some good deals, and I'm quite happy to kind of share it with you. But before all of this fiasco with the Virgin Flying Club and all that kind of stuff, I basically found a couple of flights that worked well for us. I'm sure I've said before, but we have to go in the holidays, the school holidays, because Annie works at a school. So we basically have to do that. So trying to find sensible price tickets for flights in the school holidays sometimes is not the easiest. But there was dates in December that was kind of going to work. I had enough of my flying club points, so I basically booked one ticket. But then I had a companion voucher on my account as well from basically my expenditure on the Virgin Atlantic credit card. So I got two flights. I got my two flights sorted, just paid the taxes. So for any of you who have booked a trip via Virgin using just the flying club, it basically for like just over 500 quid return for two people plus your points. So that worked out pretty good. I then was like, right, where do I want to stay? And at the time I was like, I've got to try and do this on a budget. I've got to try and do this as sensibly and as cheaply as possible, because ultimately the tickets are a no-brainer. The tickets I've got to get. And then there's the the small case of like, where are we going to stay? And then I was kind of in a situation of, well, do I want to get a car? Do I not want to get a car? And I basically, at the time, I settled on, I'm gonna sacrifice the hotel as ever to go and stay off site. I'm gonna get a car because I found a really good deal for a car that was fairly cheap. And to be fair, like, again, I'll try and share any numbers with you, but like, for a week it was like £250 for a car. It was pretty cheap, and I was like, again, it's a bit of a no-brainer. I might as well just do it. So I did that, went for it, got the Disney tickets. The Disney tickets are what they are. I couldn't necessarily justify getting a annual pass for the Disney tickets at the time because I was like, we plan on going next year, but it was difficult to know necessarily when. And obviously we were talking about October and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I basically got the tickets sorted. Accommodation, I was looking at going off site. I was looking at going somewhere down International Drive is basically the plan. I think it was like Rosen at Point Orlando or something like that. I've spoke to so many people over the past few months, and I've watched so many vlogs. And you know what? I was like, I've been talking and saying that essentially the goal and the dream has been like, let's just go and do on site. And we've talked a lot about the trip next year is going to be an on site, and it is. I can tell you that much. But this December trip, I was like, maybe let's do on site. So I got the itch, and I basically went to my booking and I amended it. So I basically changed the booking, and so we are staying on site. We are doing a week at All Star. We're going to do All Star music. It's my first on site. It's actually not Annie's first on site. She went when she was a lot younger with her family, and she was lucky enough to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous of that. But we are going to go and do our first on-site together, which is really exciting. So we are going to experience an All-Star for the first time. And I've still got the car. This is it. Like, I'm quite happy to have the car. I want to go and do like my Walmart trips and all that kind of stuff. Like, I've got, plans that obviously I want to vlog this. The vlogs are coming, like I've been saying for months. And there's me in all of these episodes saying that, like, the vlogs are coming, watch this space, knowing full well that, like, I'm literally telling you that this is going to happen. We are going to do this. I have got the plan for it. Like, I am set up, ready to go. So obviously I'm planning on, we're going to vlog it. We're going to do it. So with that, obviously I've got different things that I wanted to try and film, different things that I wanted to do actually on our trip. But with that as well, there's so many people I've spoke to and so many videos I've seen and all that kind of stuff of things that I wanted to do. So getting into the actual trip itself, like what are we going to do? What is the plan? What is the itinerary of this trip? And obviously I've chatted with Annie about this, and it was so funny because I've done the reveal. And again, those of you who might not have seen the video on YouTube as of yet, but I did the reveal as like an escape room. So an at-home escape room / kind of like scavenger hunt situation where basically at the end of it, she finds out that we're going to Walt Disney World, and she didn't believe me. Like, and I like, genuinely, I kind of stopped recording, and then for like 15-20 minutes we basically were sat down having a chat about it, and she genuinely didn't believe me. She's like, no, like, stop winding me up. Like, we're not doing this. Like, we're obviously not. We're gonna go next year. I know that's the plan, but like, we're not going in December. Like, that's next month. And I'm like, no. This is done. This is booked, paid for, sorted. We're going. And honestly, like, the reaction, it is so wholesome and genuine, because like, obviously she's so overwhelmed and so excited for it, and I'm so excited to go with Annie and to share this trip with everyone, but also to be able to finally do the vlogs and finally bring the vlogs to Orlando Adventures and have these memories to look back on. I know obviously I speak to a lot of people about kind of being able to record these trips and be able to look back at them and watch them back. And that is one of the things I am most excited for. It really, really is. So, like I was saying, getting into like the kind of itinerary of it, of what we've got planned to do. I've got a list as long as my arm of like things that people have basically said to me over the past 6, 7, 8 months that they think would be fantastic ideas, and that what they like to do in the parks and out of the parks and restaurants and rides and all that kind of stuff. So there's all of these things. And ultimately we're only going for a week on this specific trip, so we can't fit all of it in. So I've got to kind of fit in what is going to be most important to us. So I suppose if I go from start to finish of what I've got planned, and obviously we're going to do other stuff. I like a plan. I've literally done an episode on the itinerary one. But let's get into what we're actually going to do. So we're going to do a pre-travel day. So as many of you would have seen, we've got a little cat called Jay. He appears on the video. We've got to take him he goes to a cattery when we go on holiday. He loves it. It's like a little holiday for him. They love him there. He enjoys being there. It works out quite nicely. So on the 28th of December, we are going to take Jay to his little holiday, and then we are going to drive up to Heathrow. And I basically managed to find a deal so that we could park the car, but then stay. It was only a Premier Inn in the end, but stay at a Premier Inn the night before so that we're up at Heathrow and we haven't got to do the drive in the morning. We're going to make something of the travel day, which is going to be really fun. So we've got our kind of pre-travel day, I suppose. And then on travel day, we are flying from Heathrow, as I said. We are flying with Virgin, as I've already said as well, but we are going to go to the number one lounge. I talked about this in some of the earlier episodes, that back in the day, I used to do like the V room, the Virgin V room kind of lounge when they used to fly out of Gatwick. And basically I've seen so many people do this number one lounge, and to me it looks good. It looks like something that I want to experience, and it ultimately is one of those things that I'd like to capture. I'd like to be able to like go in there and record, it on the vlogs as well. I think it'd be good stuff to be able to show people. My main thing, and it's always been the same from day one, is that I always want to try and be informative yet entertaining. Hopefully I can entertain but give you some information at the same time, so hopefully something like that will be. Anyway, like I said, we're going to fly with Virgin. We're going to be in economy, flying from Heathrow into MCO. Day one, ultimately our flight was actually meant to be like the 11 o'clock one, and they moved it back to like 1:30, which is a little frustrating because we kind of lose a bit of time in Orlando on day one, but it is what it is. So we're heading over to MCO. When we get to MCO, obviously, hopefully it's nice and quick. Go to All Star Music, and then my plan on day one is to go and get the infamous Walmart trip done. Get infamous Walmart trip. Go to Disney Springs and get a Blaze pizza, because Annie loves pizza. That is, anyone who knows her will know that her favourite food is pizza. So we're going to go and do that. She's never had a Blaze, so we're going to go and experience that together for the first time. That'll be really good fun. And then on to day one, the plan, because obviously I've had to plan all of these days basically because of things like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, my dining reservations as well. But day one, we are going to Magic Kingdom. So as a lot of you will know, and obviously I've spoke about this a lot over previous episodes and stuff like that, but in our most recent trip, we didn't do Magic Kingdom. And we didn't because ultimately it wasn't a priority. We had limited days on our previous trip because we did things like Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, airboat ride, multiple days at Universal. So like we had to sacrifice something. We ended up sacrificing Magic Kingdom and also Animal Kingdom, which I know sounds wild, but this time that isn't happening. These are non-negotiables at this point. So this time round, we are going to Magic Kingdom on day one, which is going to be Monday the 30th. So Monday the 30th, we are going to Magic Kingdom. Obviously, there's so many things in the park that we want to do, but an absolute priority for us is to go and do Tiana's. Both very excited to go and ride Tiana's. I hold a lot of nostalgia to Splash Mountain, as I've said before. Annie would have been on it when she was a lot younger as well. She doesn't seem to think that she can remember it that well, which is fair enough, but I'm sure it'll spark some memories when we get to where Splash Mountain used to be and now Tiana's is. We have a dining reservation booked for that day, and again, this is just one of these diner reservations I've seen a lot of people do. I see a lot of people do this for lunch, but ultimately we want to spend the majority of the day in Magic Kingdom, and I have booked for us to go to Steakhouse 71. So we're going to go and do that. That's at the Contemporary Resort. It's a place I've never been, so we're going to go and do that. That'll be good fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a really good first day. Day 2, which actually is New Year's Eve. We are going to spend New Year's Eve in Epcot. So the plan is that we're going to be in Epcot all day. I think it's going to be a long day of Epcot, but it's going to be really, really good fun, because I know that they do quite special celebrations for kind of New Year, bringing in the New Year for all of the countries around the world as and when it is their time, essentially. So I'm really excited to do that. Obviously, we're very excited to be in Epcot again. We're going to go and do various things around the park. We don't have any diner reservations or anything, but we're going to probably eat our way around the world a bit. We're going to do, obviously, all of the rides, inevitably. We will be trying to, if we're going to do it for the whole day, we're going to try and do Epcot for the whole day. I'm going to see if there's any possibility we might be able to double up on Guardians, see if that's a possibility at all. But we'll see. Ultimately, Guardians is a priority as well, but really excited for Epcot, really excited for New Year's Eve in Epcot as well. I think it'll be magical. There's no doubt, and the fireworks will be absolutely unbelievable. So I know that Annie's very excited for that as well. The next thing we've got on the 1st of January. 1st of January, we are heading to Animal Kingdom. And this is for all of you who have, especially, I think of Time for Jade, I think of James from Snacks, Beers and Mickey Ears, and many, many others who have told me so much about how they love Animal Kingdom, and there's me just going like, yeah, but it's never been my favourite. And not to bash Animal Kingdom, because I've never tried to, but it's clearly never been top of my list. But we are going to Animal Kingdom, and I'm very excited. I'm very excited to go there, and there's lots of things, again, that I'd like to try there. Lots of things that I'd like to try and kind of eat in the park, drink in the park. And I know that Annie's very, very excited. She loves animals. She loves Animal Kingdom. So that's going to be a really, really good day. And off the recommendation of a lot of people, especially Jade from Time for Jade, we are going to be going to Yak and Yeti. We have a diner reservation for midday at that one, which is going to be really good fun. We're going to go and do that. And inevitably, in the evening of that day, I expect we'll probably go and catch some of the shows at maybe Magic Kingdom or somewhere else. We will see. But I'm very, very excited for the return of Animal Kingdom. I really am. Next up, we're doing Disney all in one hit. So next up is Hollywood Studios. And as a lot of you will know, that myself and Annie, we're big Star Wars fans. So we're buzzing. We're absolutely buzzing for getting back to Galaxy's Edge and getting to Rise of the Resistance again. And, you know, Tower of Terror, amongst many, many other rides. Like, there's so much we really want to go and get done in that park. And again, like, there's so many snacks and drinks and that kind of stuff that we want to tick off the list. But ultimately, there is a dining reservation at lunch for this park as well. And I've seen this on a lot of people's vlogs, a lot of people's videos and stories and stuff. But we're going to go and do the Roundup Rodeo barbecue lunch. So I'm buzzing. I think that looks like such fun. And I remember seeing it in a Tom and Jess video. Probably, it was a couple of months ago now. And honestly, I remember sitting there with Annie and we both watched it. And we're like, that looks so fun. And it looks fantastic. So that for us was like a no-brainer. I've booked all of these diner reservations before I told Annie as well. So I locked all of these in. We've watched videos on them. We're excited for them. And Annie's buzzing. Like, so she's really happy with the choices, which I did end up making for all of these diner reservations. But like I said, we're going to be in Hollywood Studios that day. And then in the evening, we have got another dining reservation. We're doubling up on the dining reservations on the 2nd of Jan. And we're making our way to a place that we want to go and a place that we are planning on going next year. So it'll be fitting that we're going to go and check this resort out. And we are going to Animal Kingdom Lodge. and we're going to go and eat at Sanar. I've seen so many videos and heard so many great things. And again, James from Snacks, Beers and Mickey Ears, I was having a chat with him. And he basically, I said to him, I was like, what dining reservations would you do? And he gave me like an extensive list of what things he would do. And Sanar was one that I know that we basically had a conversation about. And again, like I know that so many people have got good stuff to say about it. And we really want to go and just kind of be in the magic of Animal Kingdom and see it, and just see the lobby as well, and just go and have a little walk and a mooch in there as well. So we're really excited for that. We really, really are. The day after that, we're basically planning on doing Universal and Islands of Adventure. There's obviously a lot of stuff that we want to see and do in these parks. There's the great movie parade, the Universal movie parade. That is something that I'd be quite keen to go and see. I know that obviously we love a bit of Harry Potter, so there's guaranteed we've got to go and get a hot butter beer. We're going to go and check out Diagon Alley. We're going to go and check out Gringotts. Get the train over to Hogsmeade. And you know where we're at, but we're big fans, and we're going to be heading to Islands of Adventure. And we are going to be doing Velocicoaster. We're going to be doing Hagrid's. We're going to be doing Doctor Doom. And we're going to be making sure that we do all of those at night as well. Every single guest I speak to about Velocicoaster and Hagrid's and Doctor Doom as well, I often follow it with, have you done it at night? Because I cannot talk highly enough of it. So I'm really, really excited. I'm really excited for us to be going back to Islands of Adventure, to go and experience these rides again, but in the dark as well. And on the Saturday is actually our travel day home, but we will probably go and do Universal in the morning as well. I think that is the plan, that we'll basically go and get in some last minute bits of Universal, go and have another ride of Velocicoaster and Hagrid, no doubt, bit of Jurassic River Adventure. And amongst all of this, there's other meals and stuff that we're going to do. There's 2 or 3 other meals. There's no doubt in my mind we'll end up at Cheesecake Factory. There's no doubt in my mind that we'll try and get a Kiki's in at some point. There's a lot of stuff. It's going to be an absolutely jam-packed week. It really, really is. But I am just so excited, and it's a bit like a weight off my shoulders, to be honest with you. I've spoken to so many people over the past kind of like 6-7 months about their trips, and I'm going to be honest with you, it feels like it's my turn. It feels like it's time for me to get back to Orlando. I've loved watching everyone else's trips. I really, really have. And every single time that like I get a guest on and we talk about their previous trip, it just gives me all of those feels every single time. And I feel so fortunate, and I feel so lucky to be able to basically share other people's trips with them. I really do, because it's quite a unique experience and quite a unique space doing this podcast. I'm very grateful for all of you. I really, really am. I absolutely love it. And I just can't wait to take you all on the ride with me. I really can't. It feels like it's time. I know, like, obviously I would have loved to have gone at some point in the year, but it wasn't the time. It wasn't the time for us personally to go and get out to Orlando until realistically now. And now that we're here, it is time. And so for all of you, I've been cryptically saying that I'm coming, the YouTube videos are coming soon, watch this space, all that kind of stuff. I appreciate your patience, because you've all been thinking that I'm not going to do this till way later next year, but it's coming. Start of Jan, like I expect mid-January is when the vlogs are probably going to start coming out. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I've got the camera. I've got myself a DJI Osmo 3. I know I've never done a vlog. That's fair enough. But like, I record a lot of these episodes of the podcast. Obviously, I use this camera a lot, and I've had this camera since the 50th episode. So any of you who watch the podcast on YouTube would have seen me with this camera and the wireless mics, all that kind of stuff. We're kitted out. We're ready to go, and I just can't believe that we're nearly there. As of recording this episode, we're at 48 days, which feels absolutely mad, because when I booked this, like, I was like 240 days or something like that. 200 days I managed to keep this a secret from Annie, which just feels baffling. And I know that I have spoke to a few people over the past few months. I have told a few people. A few people did know. So I really appreciate all of those people for keeping this a secret, because they would have heard me in episodes talking cryptically about vlogs coming soon, and I can't wait to get out there on my next trip, and my next trip being arguably potentially October next year. And then it turns out that I've always had a trip booked anyway. So obviously I couldn't share it with everyone because I didn't want to ruin the surprise for Annie. So I really, really do appreciate all of you. I really do. But thank you. Thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you all so much for tuning in as ever. Thank you all for engaging in the podcast and for how excited everyone was for when the actual trip announcement vlog dropped. Like, it's quite a big moment. It's a big and I know this because I speak to a lot of people who've done vlogs, but it's a big moment kind of dropping what is essentially the first vlog on the channel. So I've got so much time and so much respect for everyone in this community, and honestly, I just can't wait to start picking the camera up and showing you my trip in December. So once again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you all in the next one.